Hello and welcome everyone. Welcome to today's webinar on AP automation myths that are costing you. So yeah, thank you all for joining in. Hope the next 45 minutes are really fruitful value of your time. Right. So welcome everyone once again. I'll walk you through some of the housekeeping items first, then probably introduce our speakers for today, and then we'll get started. Right. So yeah, all participant lines are muted for clarity purpose, but should you have any questions, any comments during the course of the webinar, please feel free to utilize the Q&A or the chat section, and we'll be happy to look into it. Of course, we have reserved about 10 minutes towards the end for addressing those questions. The total webinar duration is about 45 minutes, but yeah, you can use the chat or the Q&A section, right? Those who stay till the end, of course, get a webinar summary report, key insights and key ideas that's discussed during the webinar. We'll share that, in a very short, articulate, succinct, very readable format. You can avail free half a day consulting session for us to kind of review your systems, review your landscape, and maybe kind of pitch or, do a half day free consulting session for you. Exclusive AP white paper, and we're going to discuss some of the key findings from the AP white paper in this webinar as well. But yeah, we'll share an exclusive AP white paper that's which kind of features a survey from 35 plus large enterprises. Right, so it's a very insight based white paper. So yeah, definitely look forward to that. So anybody hooking toward till the end of the webinar will get all of these, right? Right. Having said that, let me quickly introduce my speakers for today. We have Srividya Kannan, who is the CEO and founder of Avali, comes with extensive experience in sales, alliances, finance, partnerships, operations, and so on. So yeah, so she will walk you through some of the important key discussions that we'll have today. And we have also Piyush Agrawal, who's VP of Velocious, our source to pay, or rather our sourcing and supplier experience solution. So we'll also touch upon some of the key ideas that we'll discuss today. Right. So without further ado, I'll quickly hand over to Shividya. Shividya, please take it over.
Thank you. Thank you for that, Abhinav. I hope I'm audible, loud and clear, and my slides are visible as well. Please to
Yes.
confirm once. Yeah, excellent. So firstly, it's a pleasure joining today, and hopefully I'm able to do justice for the next 30 to 40 minutes to give you real insights. Beyond all the fluff that we hear about AP automation, I'm sure all of us are very informed audiences, and increasingly so, I would say, the kind of conversations that I've been having with CXO, CDOs in the past about 2 to 3 years have been extremely informational, insightful. And I think, together we're really set out to do something jointly for the benefit of the organization that we work with. But beyond the fluff around, the standard dialogues around why AP automation makes sense, what's the business benefit, I think all of us understand that pretty well. But in today's discussion, I'm going to share with you real hardcore ground level insights of organizations who have done this in terms of AP automation. What is the experience that they have seen? What are the major challenge areas that still remains to be addressed? What is our proposal to address those challenges? And so what has worked well for organizations and what is not, what is still a challenging area for companies, right? We'll cover that, followed by what are we doing to address that problem? Okay, so these are the two major themes that we will cover. I want to share with you real hardcore insights. So we've been in the AP automation space now, especially as a part of the larger shared services initiative, at least for the last about 7 to 8 years. We have been extremely extensive in terms of automating processes and shared services, and AP downstream, which is a downstream business process, definitely is one of the key process that most shared service organizations typically have. We went and reached a couple of months back, we reached about 35 plus very large organizations which have implemented AP and have at least gone live on this at least 12 to 18 months back. Okay, so with some companies actually who have been with AP automated processes for the last, say, about 6, 7 years. And we went back to them and asked this question saying that, okay, based on hardcore data, tell us which are the areas which are high performing and which are the areas where you still have challenges. And what I'm about to present today is to give you insights from that. That will help us all in terms of not just talking English, saying that, okay, AP automation is great and we need to do this and that, but importantly, what are the areas to really watch out for as you look to take on this initiative. So let's further, I've just brought down these 5 myths right up front, right? what are the 5 myths typically which are existing relating to AP automation? The first myth is that our existing vendor can also handle AP automation. Okay, so it's like, okay, AP automation, therefore, is it really a niche area, or is it that it can be done by any vendor who has done automation of multiple business processes? In our interactions with customers, the feedback that we have constantly received is that AP is a very specific skill, okay, because the one, it's a very sensitive process, highly intensive, sensitive process, because it entails money outflow from the company. One part of it is to understand that business process really well, depending on the type of invoices, what are the right to be processes to pick, and which are my 80-20 rule, okay, which where I can handle, maybe, cover 80% of the problem with maybe handling just 20% areas. How can I, fix my 80% problem? So definitely it's a very, very niche skill, both from a technology perspective, but more importantly, from a functional business process perspective. Definitely, this comes under the office of the CFO, and there's nobody better than the CFO, who has consistently given us feedback that it requires an extremely niche skill to understand the AP process. Myth number 2, invoice automation is only about reducing cost. Yes, I mean, any digital for that matter, investment is about cost reduction. But beyond that, I think the real value areas are around compliance, control, speed, and insights. Okay, so cycle time reduction is one part of it, but because it is a sensitive process, right, where this requires money outflow from the company, early identification of liabilities, via maybe an agile, vendor portal or an email channel via which the invoices come in, the early visibility to liabilities, and then this whole aspect of, duplicates. Okay, so suspected duplicates, or how you can handle, actually, or even identify. So for example, we went and asked many companies, how much cycle time is your AP process taking? Okay, how many invoices you process? And they would say I process, say, upwards. Many large organizations are typically at least upwards of 35-40,000 invoices, with some going to 1.82 million invoices even. But say on an average, they process, say, a lakh, 2 lakh invoices, and they don't have the visibility, or, and it's not possible for us to know without automation saying what's the cycle time to this process, or how many suspected duplicates has my team really identified. ERP can do that to some extent, but there is far more in that invoice beyond the ERP, right from the line item matching to the entire aspect of, that the elements of various elements of that invoice, right from your, header items to the line items, to your cost, pricing, to your date of invoices, to your, whether it's a PO or a non-PO or a services-based invoice. Is it a contract-based invoice, or is it, what kind of an invoice it is? There are multiple matches to be done, and then the suspected duplicates needs to be identified from multiple sources. So it's not possible for somebody who's an AP processor to actually be able to identify that, and those are the real costs. The inherent cost is, one is with respect to visibility to liabilities, that is early visibility to liabilities. The second is also the cost relating to the duplicate invoices or suspected duplicates that needs to be identified by the system early on, for you to have the conversation with the supplier in this regard next when you're having a supplier review meeting. Or the compliance. Now, compliance is a very, very important aspect relating to your taxation guidelines, whether and are you in adherence to that VAT taxation guidelines? Now that also there is e-invoicing come into the picture almost in several countries, and many countries are getting rolled out. India is one of them, Middle East, the many countries which have actually rolled out e-invoicing. So the constantly changing guidelines, and the government is constantly, updating those guidelines, because they want to actually really get down to ensuring that they are not missing any kind of VAT or, GST related revenues for them, right? So with all of this coming into picture, compliance, the second is on the duplicate invoices and early visibility to liabilities. These are things which we should definitely look at, in addition to, of course, reducing the, human touch points and the cost thereon. There are much more deeper aspects of this. The third is really around OCR. OCR is full automation. OCR is just one part of it. I'm sure many of us understand that. But here I'm going to tell you something very important in the next slides about, the status of OCR. Where are we on OCR, and what else, are the improvement areas? We'll cover that. Okay. Our ERP will handle everything. All of us know that ERP is the last mile. At the end, it's a structured data. It goes into it's a last mile. 80% of the business process has elements of unstructured content, workflows within the process, audit trails which are required. So the ERP obviously cannot take care of that. I think many of us understand that, but typically there's a myth saying that, okay, ERP, we built something in the ERP, it should handle it. Okay, but that's not the reality. Automation alone will solve the problem. No, it will not. Like all of us, have been doing so many projects. I'm sure all of us have adequate experience. We do know that change management, first of all, the to be process, the definition of the to be process, and not just automating any process, but the real devil is in the details of the design. So during the design phase, actually rethinking the to be process to keep it nimble and agile in the overall vision of the organization. So depending on whether the organization wants to centralize the process and go in for shared services, or the organization wants to continue in a hybrid manner or in a decentralized manner, and how this process should actually work according to the vision of the organization, that is very, very important during the design phase. And that is where, beyond automation, we need to properly design the entire process, the to be process, and then automation follows through. The third is really change management. So trainings, change management, handholding, real solution adoption. These are the devil which we need to kind of attack and see how we can get the ROI that the organization has actually thought through when you decided to make the investment. Has it really come about or not? And many of these pillars, if they are broken, then this could lead to a real challenge. So having covered like these top 5 leading myths, I'll move forward to the next slide. I don't know why my okay, yeah. So what is the real data revealing, right? Based on this findings of the survey, and this is where I think you'll find this webinar to be of great value. So one is OCR accuracy. Like I promised, I said I'll mention about the OCR accuracy. So what is the current state? From the survey, we realized that only 8.8% of organizations are achieving OCR accuracy of greater than 90%. Now, this is quite revealing, okay, because we were also, shockingly, surprised actually to see this result. This seems to be a real challenge. Okay, so there is still a lot of dependency on manual data entry. There is a lot of slow processing as a result of the OCR accuracy failing. Okay, so on an average, we see, okay, if you look at traditional OCR solutions, they should be delivering about 60-70% OCR accuracy, and then you're struggling to get to that next 80-90%, because end of the day, you're also thinking how we can get to touchless processing. We are talking about big things about AI. The world is going somewhere, but still manually, why we need to be involved over here? So in these things all start from the recognition. Recognition of that invoice becomes imperative. So template-based OCR is something that should be ideally questioned. So we decided to question this about 6-8 months back, and we said, why should there be templates now where we are talking about AI can do this and AI can do that, and why are we still relying on template-based solutions for OCR? So here is where AI-powered OCR with continuous learning models, which can actually significantly improve accuracy and speed. This is a solution we launched a couple of months back with our AI-powered OCR solution. At some point, when your time permits, if you would like to see the demo of that, or a real POC, okay, saying that, okay, these are my invoices. Why don't you do this on the fly and show it to me? Okay, so we can do it together that way. It's not like, we want to be right and we want to be best. It's not like that. I mean, we can do it together. You can just share your invoices with us. And really, it's a proof point of whether, this AI-based templateless OCR, what real value delivery that it can get to our organizations. So that is something that we can showcase. High OCR is definitely high OCR accuracy is foundational. And I think template-based OCRs, we should really question to say, okay, every time I can't end up, training the template. And then my team the time should not be going, doing template trainings, right? And OCR accuracy, surely we should have better expectations from the solution, saying how we can get that, that in 80-90%, I don't want to kind of, throttle myself and keep struggling on that. We need to be able to do this much earlier. So I think those are the clear takeaways. I think when you look at any AP automation solution, you need to be able to, get that value based on these questions. The second, invoice exception rate. Okay, now this is very interesting. So if you look at invoice exceptions, ideally, if the process is set right, okay, then ideally you should be moving towards a PO-based invoice scenario largely. And if that is the case, and if you're progressing well on that, then your exceptions should be really very low. But if you look at it on an average, we've seen customers, nearly 50% of the companies are reporting invoice exception rates between 41 to 100%, which is high. Okay, so what that happens is that, that you automate And then you're saying, okay, still I'm handling exceptions. And while these exceptions can be met through, say, workflows and things like that, and you maintain this audit trail, but workflow also they requires some intervention by humans, right? So the real um, the real answer to this is that we should be, when we automate AP, we should be really looking for solutions where the process is designed in a manner where during the design phase itself, we are clear that, this is how we are designing the to-be process to minimize exceptions. Change management is being taken care of. Secondly, that we need those smart matching algorithms whereby you don't need always human intervention and basis rules based on the data sets in the past. If in the previous time zone it has really worked like this, then going forward, if such an exception comes, how do you handle it? And so rules-based validations should be a part of every solution that is upcoming for AP. Now, these are next generation solutions. So the solutions of the past is not going to serve us for the future. The solutions of AP automation for OCR, which has relied on templateless training, which has relied on invoice exceptions, workflows being the same, those are not going to serve us for the future. That's what we're trying to arrive at. We're saying that we need those kind of smart solutions where the smart matching algorithms and rules-based validation. So every time it does not have to really pass through manual workflows. Third is auto posting. So here I think we should actually, when we look at AP, we should have more, I would say more aspirational targets for ourselves. Okay, many a times we are a little bit more conservative, I would say, when we say all the organizations that we work with, we should not be looking at a very conservative approach. The best practice is to look at a slightly more aspirational approach because companies investing money in it. So why can't we just get the full returns? My proposition is, why can't we look at an autonomous AP? So internally, we're having a discussion and ideating, and this solution we should be coming up with very soon, saying that how can we really enable autonomous AP? Why should there be manual intervention? So whether you outsource the process to a BPO or you're doing it hybrid or you do it in-house, even if you're setting up a captive, how can we really look at autonomous process in a large sense? Because technology has progressed a lot. And recently, even yesterday, you would have heard the news about, ChatGPT and the cost reductions that they have proposed from an India perspective. So technology is getting a lot more democratized and technology is going to get a lot more cheaper. Then how are we going to be able to use that solution to really benefit the organization in a much better manner? Why can't we set some really solid aspirations for ourselves, saying we need to be able to do auto posting? So when can I start doing that auto posting? And when is the real realization of the return going to come? So only 10% of organizations today are looking at auto posting between 80 to 100%. That's a very hard reality for us. Okay, and this is something that we should not go with. When we automate this process, we should be saying how that we can look at auto posting, increase auto posting, because it improves efficiency and accuracy. And that again has a lot of reliance on clean data. And I think all of us know this in the room that, clean supplier masters, clean data, robust rules, okay, that and ERP, of course, integrations or, the integrations between the AP system and ERP is actually imperative. These are, some very solid imperatives for us to achieve auto posting and get that result. Okay, but is it doable? Absolutely, it's doable. But we should be looking at it early on as we are looking to take on this initiative. And if it's whether it's a green field or whether you're looking to migrate from some other solution to this, or you have an internal custom built solution and you're looking for an alternative, or you're looking at this as a part of your overall RISE upgrade, as you're looking at if you're an SAP customer, or an ERP upgrade if you're looking at other ERPs, you should be looking at some of these areas as you look to automate the AP process. Finally, invoice processing cycle time. Okay, so 25% take more than 5 days to process the invoice. So if you have automated this process, cycle time should be constantly coming down. Okay, in which case, because that's the objective of the entire process. So the challenges are really around the bottlenecks that we have put for ourselves. Many a times it's about hitting ourselves in the leg, saying, okay, we have not really, put the correct to be processed together. So the approval cycles, data validations, the OCR, of course, visibility into invoice status. So all of these challenges will need to be addressed, and we should be looking at a reduction in the invoice processing cycle time. Now, the bigger question is, okay, what's our current process cycle time? Okay, now I think many organizations don't have an answer to that because that's not typically, measured like that. But we can, during the design phase, work with your team to put together a high level estimate of that basis the process understanding and say, okay, from this goal, how do we move the needle and get to this point in what timeline in phase one? And thereafter, how do we move the needle and get to the next point in phase two. So these are conversations which we should definitely be having as a part of the AP process automation when we look at the cycle time of the invoice. So what is the way forward? The way forward we have already discussed to a large extent in the previous slides, embracing advanced technologies. The way technologies have worked in the past, we should be asking questions to say, okay, how can I do templateless OCR? How can I embed AI into this process? How can I really look at, auto validations? How can I look at simulation of the entries automatically? How can I look at identification of the TDS or the taxation entries automatically? How can I really streamline the operations? Why can't I look at the next generation technologies to automate this business process? Why should I be looking at technologies which have been there for decades together, which may not have adequately, evolved over a period of time to give customer their fair share of due? So embracing advanced technology, setting high performance benchmarks. I think I've covered this previously as well in this conversation. We should be more aspirational and we should set high performance benchmark for ourselves as we look to automate the process. Data governance, data is extremely important. So whether it looks at we look at data accuracy, security, compliance related elements, we should look at the entire data governance aspect as a part of this process and ensuring that we are achieving a seamless system integration via proper connects with the respective systems that we may have beyond the ERP. If there are point systems that are there, or we need certain, connectivity with all of these either point systems, third-party applications, or the ERP, we should ensure that we are minimizing silos and there is proper data transparency between these various applications. On this, the next slides, I'm going to hand over to Piyush to cover what does Velocious do, and therefore why do you really need to look at this solution? Why does it matter in the context of all these previous slides that we have covered? How are we going to be differentiating via Velocious is something that Piyush will cover in the next set of slides. Piyush, over to you.
Yeah, thanks, Vidya. Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Uh, so Velocious as a product covers various modules right from upstream to downstream, from sourcing till the end where the payment visibility has to happen to suppliers. One of the important module that we have is AP automation. Now, AP automation module covers end-to-end cycle right from ingestion till the time where the posting happens in the ERP, the entire cycle, and then visibility of that entire data to the all the stakeholders is what Velocious cover in the AP automation. So if you see here the multiple processes which is mentioned, multiple ingestion channels. So invoices can come from email, can come from a portal, can be uploaded by your internal users, or it can come via scan channels. So all the channels, the invoices will get ingested. With that, after ingestion, it has a AI, ML, and a Gen AI based OCR engine, which I'll talk in my next slides, which basically covers the area of high accuracy and how we can have templateless OCR, which I'll cover in the next slide. Then after the extraction, it covers a lot of validations and checks to ensure that the data which is extracted is the data which is matching with your ERP database. It also uses AI technology to do a three-way matching and other functionalities. Then if there are local compliance requirements related to the QR code reading or digital signature verifications, or they are in integrations required to check whether there is a GST check, MSME checks, or whether other checks, VAT checks, which are required during the entire process, Velocious can do that. And in cases where there are non-POs or there are invoices which needs an approval process, it has a built-in BPayment engine which can do the entire approval cycle in the process flow. That other important feature that we have here is also it also has a embedded invoice portal which can provide suppliers to have the end-to-end visibility of the entire process to both your suppliers and to your internal users, where while the invoice is flowing from one journey to another journey, one channel, one process to another process, the entire visibility of the life cycle of the invoice is available to the users. And then finally, the entire integration with the ERP to park the invoice or post the invoice in the ERP is seamlessly done with the platform leveraging or API-based mechanisms. Right. So moving ahead, so what basically differentiate Velocious, in terms of the features as compared to maybe other products, or also how it brings intelligence on the table. So one of the important features that is basically is a templateless OCR, we call it, a template-free invoice processing. So what it does is that first of all, it has an AI ML based OCR engine to ensure that the extraction is very powerful. Now, even if the extraction is powerful, the bigger problem happens is how to match that extraction with the right labels. Because it may happen that invoice might not be understood by the OCR to understand that, okay, this is an invoice number, this is a PO number, because the variables naming can be very different. And that is where we have built a solution leveraging Gen AI to identify, contextually understand that, okay, this particular field is what. So it can automatically understand. You don't have to do template training to map it. Okay, this field means a PO number, this field means a invoice number. It can understand various variables automatically leveraging GenAI models, and it can automatically extract the data and present the data for the users. It can also understand contextually the entire descriptions or text which is there in the invoices. So if you have, for an example, there are scenarios where we have seen that sometimes in the description the unit price is there, but it is not mentioned in a separate line, separate column. So what intelligently it can do is it can understand that on the pattern that this is a unit price which is mentioned in the description, it can auto extract it and automatically map to the fields. So that is how it can do, leveraging a GenAI and AI based technologies. Then it has a AI powered three-way matching. So legacy three-way matching, how it happens is you need to define the rules, you need to configure the rules to have a fuzzy logic or have a direct logic to match the information. Now with this GenAI based mechanisms that we are using here, all the three-way matching can happen based on system will automatically understand various parameters and try to match it, and it will recommend that okay, these are the probable matches, these are 100% matching, and these are the ones which are contextually matching, but there can be differences, and these are the ones which are not matching. So that gives you a understanding. Even if the descriptions are not exactly matching, it can understand contextually the description of the invoice and the PO and the GRN is matching. Then it has another functionality where before even parking or posting the data in the ERP, it can do a simulation run on the ERP to ensure that the data, the account balances are getting adjusted and everything is getting properly updated. Then only the posting or parking happens in the ERP. It has pre-built integrated query management. So one of the challenge which happens is if a AP team is processing the invoices, if they have any queries with the requesters or with the buyers or the user departments, they need to raise those over emails or call them. So instead of that, they can leverage the integrated query management where all the queries can be raised from the platform by the AP team. So you have single place for against the particular task where all the queries are recorded, and you can also raise a query to your supplier. So suppliers can respond if there is a missing documents. You can get those documents from supplier. If any queries are there, you can raise the queries to supplier. And the last point is embedded supplier invoice portal. So it has it also provides it comes in built-in invoice portal so that your suppliers can ingest the document from the same platform. They will have the logins and they can upload the invoices. They can see their status. They can see their payment status, everything directly in the same platform. No need to have additional separate purchase, modules to be purchased. It's a part of the same AP automation solution. Right? Yeah. So moving ahead, yeah, Shivya, you want to cover that?
Yeah, so about Velocious, I mean, a high-level overview about Velocious. It's a full-featured source, not only beyond AP, okay? So it covers the entire e-sourcing and the P2P automation. It's got all of the modules, right from your RFI, RFX, creation to receiving supplier responses, doing the auto evaluation, your e-auctions through to the PO, the entire vendor onboarding, which is a full-featured, vendor onboarding solution with integrations to take care of all the compliances, checks, the document level comprehensiveness, completeness, and the compliance checks for your vendors before you can actually onboard them, including the master data, if it already exists or not in the ERP, and basis that then allowed to create the master. PO visibility from your ERP, invoice receipt, and of course, invoice to pay process, which we have covered as a part of this meeting today, and the supplier performance analytics. It is listed on the Gartner Market Guide for sourcing applications, and it's also integrated with SAP deeply. In addition to being ERP agnostic, given that a large percentage of companies are actually SAP install accounts, we have validated the solution with SAP, and it's also now available to be picked off the SAP store. And SAP reps actually get a quota credit to sell the solution. So that's the level of integrations that we have achieved with Velocious. The major differentiators, really, as we were talking to companies, why is the need for another solution? The major reason for that was really around three areas. One is the adoption. So while companies would invest a lot of money in these applications, adoption was becoming a real challenge. Like we've seen organizations over a period of 1 year, they've been able to get less than 10% of the suppliers to adopt. It was a major push required from their end. So our whole point was, how can we keep this UI UX so intuitive that if somebody is able to say order food on a food app or look at ordering movie tickets on a movie app, we don't get trained for that. It's like it comes intuitively, right? I mean, even a child can do it. So the UI UX is one major differentiator, which allows ease of adoption. Okay, so we've worked as a proof point, say for the Ministry of Petroleum, Oil India Limited, over 14,000 plus suppliers. The adoption was sub 3 months. That, and these suppliers are actually remote suppliers. Out of box localizations, I think, as we spoke about the changing government guidelines and the e-invoicing requirements of different markets, it's imperative that the solution is not customized to, so it's not like one cloud-based SaaS solution which is available, and then for every localization or to meet the local government requirements, which are also constantly changing, you need to be reliant on a partner who will be doing that customization for, and building codes on top of the application. This comes with out-of-box localizations and compliances built into it. And for changing government guidelines, we come up with incremental versions which are going to be compatible for those guidelines. So that really makes it easy for an organization to keep the solution relevant to meet the requirements for automation. And then from a GBS perspective, we sell deeply into the office of the CFO in addition to the CPO. And so if a company is actually set up a GBS, whether it is to define your SLAs or the turnaround time or the collaboration that's required very deeply for any GBS organization, the solution is really relevant, for that GBS organization as well. It's got multiple modules. So like I mentioned, these are the various modules including, and each of this are sold modularly. So if you need a full featured source to pay, you could buy it as full featured. But if you're looking for one specific module, then you can pick it up from that module as well. So maybe Piyush, you want to just do a quick rundown of each one of these elements?
Yeah. So right from upstream, if you see the left side, e-sourcing is where it covers the supplier-centric process where floating an RFX event, getting the code from the supplier, having a comparison of those codes, uh, then approval of those codes, and the entire process of RFQ with then converting into an auction where bidding event can happen, or independently running the bidding, getting the bids from the suppliers, awarding the suppliers. So the entire process of auction and RFQs can be floated on this platform. Then integration with the ERP can happen right from the PR to PO stage if any integrations are required to trigger from here. Contract management is where this entire module of where the authoring, editing, approvals can happen for the contract. So if you have any contract drafts which needs to be edited, reviewed, approved, clauses can be maintained, libraries can, clause library can be maintained, signatures can happen. So entire signature process can happen via this contract management. Catalog management is where the hosted catalogs by the suppliers can be managed. Catalog items can be made available to your internal users, department users who can raise a request based on the agreed catalog items, and those can be initiated as a purchase requisitions, which can go for an approval, and finally PO can be created in your ERP. Now then we on the right side we have supplier onboarding process. It covers entire comprehensive onboarding form, approval, validations, checks. So your entire onboarding form, once you implement this, you will not have to worry on your master data duplications or checks, compliance checks. Everything is there: GST, MSME, bank details checks already available, built in the product. Approvals can happen if you supplier needs to initiate any change flow, change data process flow. Everything can happen. Intra-company code extensions can happen. Company code extensions can happen. So all this entire process can be managed via this supplier onboarding module. Experience is more like a post PO process where suppliers can see the orders. Once the orders are released to them, they can acknowledge the order. They can create ASN. They can create service entry sheets. Send it for approval. Query management. If they have any queries, they can raise it. So the entire process of post-PO collaboration can happen via supplier experience. AP automation, we already covered it. So it covers the entire AP automation flow. And then we have detailed spend analytics where if you want to analyze the spend, for your organization, so it can do the entire dissection based on, it leverages the BI engine to, dissect it at a category, subcategory level, vendor level. So all various parameters are there through which you can do the spend analytics of the all the spend data.
Yeah. And finally, the solution has been trusted by various enterprises. So we have, various PSUs, including all the private sector entities as well. We can enable discussions with them when the time is right. If you want to take a look at the solution, please do let us know. This has been adopted by very large SAP clients as well, and works in terms of any ERP. So it is ERP agnostic. It's got its own supplier self-service. So suppliers can actually seamlessly transact and manage all of their activities and seamlessly interact using the solution. and it really enables a risk-free compliance. So like we mentioned about adherence to tax and regulatory requirements, and ensuring that risk is built and it has got built-in controls. Supplier experience is at the core. So the entire supplier adoption, faster query resolution, cycle time, to payments, to ensuring payments to suppliers that happen on time, as well as all kinds of supplier queries are handled in the fastest possible way. That's really around the supplier experience as such that the solution is capable of doing. In addition to that, the next upcoming initiatives are with AI. So autonomous AP, like I was, briefly alluding to, where the entire end-to-end invoice processing has got absolutely minimal human touch, and the solution is having agentic AI at its core to handle all of the exceptions and all of the scenarios that we have identified as largely manual in nature even now. That can be automated with agentic AI. So that's the immediate works that that's currently work in progress. Now, in addition to that, the agentic AI chatbot, which is going to be a very intelligent conversational assistant for not only responding to any kind of supplier queries, but also taking actions. So executing tasks, with the agentic AI, whereby whether it's creating RFQs or any tracking invoices or, any kind of task that the agent needs to execute, it should be in a position to do that. AI supplier recommendations. So basis all of the data sets that we have already got within the organization to look at AI-powered supplier recommendations based on responses received from the RFP or otherwise. Who are the suppliers that we have engaged with, but also who are the likely suppliers for this product, material, or services that we have not engaged with, and make those recommendations so that we are able to diversify the supplier base. And AI-powered RFP, RFQ creation. So AI to actually fill in all the details, the questionnaire, and all the rules, the timeline, compliances, etc. And also from the suggest and pre-populate the suppliers based on history and context, and once the responses are received thereafter, to also do the evaluation. So the creation part of it as well as the subsequent evaluation. So these are basically the upcoming initiatives with the Velocious, and we'd love to keep you updated of how we are progressing on each one of this and how it will be valid for you. But beyond Velocious, Avali, as you know, is basically working with large enterprises in the cost optimization, margin improvement space using a confluence of technologies. Shared services, global business services is what we deeply focus on. And our expertise, if you see the third bullet here, is around automation, agentic AI, digital workplace, MDM, CLM, SAP, BTP, a whole range of, I would say, new age solutions, which, using a confluence of which the unstructured content and workflows within business processes can be automated, and you can reduce the cost of running your business operations. That is what we are about. And we have deep partnerships as well with the leading vendors, including SAP, OpenText, all the leading RPA vendors, the contract lifecycle management, master data vendors. But what beyond technology, I think we lead from processes. So we believe that anything can be automated. Technology will still work, but the two major areas is ensuring that we are automating the right process, and after automation, what kind of returns are we giving and how. So I think those are two major compelling differentiators that we bring in. We've got numerous awards recognition. In the interest of time, I'm not going to go through each one of this, but we'll make sure that we have the slide deck across to you no later than tomorrow. I'm going to stop sharing now and look forward to some interactions and questions. So you could feel free to use the chat button or the Q&A box, to ask any questions. Feel free to do that. Okay, so we have some questions already. So let's take these questions. Abhinav, could you please take up these questions which have not
Sure,
yet
sure,
been
sure. I'll
responded to?
start
Yeah.
from the first one. Mohammed Kaisullah asked, what is the accuracy percentage of the OCR? Piyush, you
Yeah,
want?
Piyush, do you want to take that?
Yeah. So what we have seen is around 90 to 95% accuracy is what we have seen, in the use cases or the invoices that we have worked on. And when I say 90-95%, it doesn't mean that in a particular invoice, 90% will be captured. 90-95% means 90% of the invoices are getting fully captured. The invoices means all the data is getting captured. So it's not that, because most of the players say that 90% captured means one field is not captured. So that is still basically nothing is captured basically, because there is a manual intervention required. But in this case, what we have seen is that in most of the cases, 90-95%, what we have seen is that the data is 100% getting captured for those invoices.
Right, right. And the next question is from Ravi. I'll just quickly sim through because in the interest of time. So how the deductions are addressed if we have to deduct some amount based on quality parameters, say in SAP ECC 6, EHP 7.
So deductions can be addressed. I mean, we need to understand more in detail about this question. But if there is a data available in the ERP to directly have a deduction entry, then yes, we can adjust that in the process flow. But if you have something which is available in more of a text format, then yes, we can leverage an AI to understand how much is the deduction percentage and what has to be applied from the text, and then we can adjust the deduction during the invoice processing. So
Right.
we can discuss in detail, yeah, separately.
Got it. So we'll do that separately. The next question actually is already answered by Piyush in the chat, but I'll read out for the benefit of all the attendees. The question is from Hari Krishna: how to manage the non-PO invoices? How is it different from Ariba? So Piyush, of course, has answered that non-PO invoices can be handled via OCR extraction, approval processes, GL, cost center mapping, etc., and it can support non-PO process flow till parking posting in ERP. Right? Okay. And the next
How is this
question is,
different from Ariba? Let me take that
yeah,
question, right? So
yeah,
that's a very good question. That's what many companies ask. I think somewhere it is similar to a large extent. It is very similar because there are almost all the modules. The only module that we don't have is supplier network. That's the only module that is not there. But minus of that, all of these modules are available. So yeah, in a large, in a sense, it is a lot similar. And we have also worked with many companies who are actually looking at Ariba replacements at the moment, given the cost is very high. That's the feedback we are getting. So the answer, a quick answer to that is somewhere it's very similar. Okay, let's proceed further, Abhinav.
yeah, yeah. And next question is from Rishi, who asks, in case of any dispute, what is the treatment for GST portion? How Velocious module can help with inline to compliance? Piyush answers that deductions data can
No,
be
that was
extracted.
separate one. I guess
Yeah.
this we need to understand more in detail. Means what type of
Okay.
dispute is it post? Is it between the input, the GSTR2 entry and the invoice? Is that the case? We need to understand it. If you can just put on the chat.
Yeah. 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 Maybe we
Yeah.
can get in touch with Rishi separately, or Rishi, you can just mention. I'll move on.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah. Challenges in the non-PO cases is to get the invoices to AP team to process. Do we have any solution to get the invoices into the system for processing?
Yeah, that
Right.
I addressed via
Yeah.
portal. So via portal that we have for suppliers, and even for your non-PO, the biggest challenge is where to route the invoices. So we can also give a mechanism where suppliers can mention their SPOC, point of contact email ID, and then we can route via them and then back to the AP team for processing. So exposing a supplier portal, which is part of the solution already, will solve this problem.
Got it. Got it. The next question is, how is the data privacy taken care of?
Yeah, so data privacy, we have all the corresponding data privacy, certificates checks in place. We are leveraging highly secure, systems, mainly from both from the OCR's perspective or from the, AI perspective, to ensure that, data is not breached. There are, all the corresponding security checks are in place. And then we have corresponding ISO certifications from the product perspective to ensure that there is no data leakages from the platform.
Right. Okay. I hope that answers. The next question is, OCR will also, would OCR also read the email which contains the invoice for mapping to the correct person?
If we can discuss the use case, yes, there is a capability available in the AI. So if there is a specific use case where you need some information to be captured from the invoice, maybe from a text or a content, then we can definitely explore that. We can have a separate discussion on that, and we can suggest a solution for that.
Right. Next question is from Rene, who asks, since AI for AP was mentioned as work in progress, with how many companies has it been implemented, to which extent, or what is the implementation timeline?
Yeah, so AI for AP, this is the one with the templateless OCR and AI, which is already launched. It's not work in progress, but the solution for AP is already launched. The autonomous AP one is work in progress, and that is something that we should be looking to launch this financial year. But the companies, we've recently last week declared a go live also for Aditya Birla Renewables for their AP process. This has also been extensively announced also in social pages and so on. But we'll be very happy to um, touch base for you with companies who have done this already, or maybe first even start with the demo and showcase the solution in its entirety.
Right. Guru Prasad asks, do you have these features in the P2P suite, which are budget versus actual spend analysis, inventory, and payment initiation and integration with bank?
All right. So spend analysis, yes, we can discuss that. As a part of spend analytics, we can bring the budgeted and the actual spends which have happened based on the data. We can definitely show that spend analytics report. For the inventory management, payment initiation typically happens as a part of the core ERP process itself. That's what we have seen. But if there are any challenges surrounding that, then yes, we can leverage the technologies of bot automation and AI to solve a specific use case. So we'll be happy to discuss with you on that.
Good. Next question is from Ganesh Patre, who says rate card based invoice processing can be possible for invoice submitted by OCR
Rate card based,
based
so
invoice
we need to
processing.
understand more. Yeah. There is no such restrictions, but we need to understand if there are specific nuances here which needs to be addressed. OCR can extract all the details, independent of the invoice format. But if there are specific nuances are there, we can discuss that. So rate cards, if it is related to contracts, yes, we can discuss separately on that and have a separate call for that.
Right. I think follow-up question from Ganesh is on, no, I mean, the additional question from Ganesh is on PDF authentication and dedupe for supporting document.
Sorry, PDF?
PDF authentication and
Hmm.
dedupe, DEDUP, dedupe. I think deduplication, I think. Dedupe
Duplication for supporting document.
for supporting
Okay.
document.
PDF authentication, if you mean from a signature perspective, yes, but if there are any other technical, requirement, deduplication check for the supporting document, then yes, I think we can do it. I have to check with my IT team. They would be the right because more of a technical thing. But yes, we can respond to you back on that. I mean, I'll check with my IT team and we'll respond to you on this.
Okay,
Got it.
there's a question that we missed in between, which is says, how will you help us
Yeah,
with
I was
SAP
coming back
integration,
there.
or do we need to take to SAP partner, even though the solution is integrated out of box with SAP? Yes, absolutely. We will help with any kind of SAP integrations that we need to do for your specific, company. And otherwise, the solution is integrated. It's a ready-made solution, which is pre-integrated with SAP, and we will make it work for your SAP landscape.
Right.
Yeah, with the
Nataraj.
parking and also the parking posting scenarios, we already have that. In fact, simulation also we have with SAP. So if you want to simulate the data before parking the data, having a parking triggered, everything we have done for our customers also. So we have all the SAP codes and any developments required on SAP enhancements required, we can do it.
Right. Next question is 90% accuracy means it's invoices or fields in the invoices. So yeah, as Piyush has
It's
addressed
invoices.
already. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
invoices. Okay, so next question is, hi, for the three-way reconciliation, is the process going to be done at the barcode level since each invoice has about 3K to 4K barcodes?
We need to understand this. I am not much clear on this question. If, uh, yeah, if you can elaborate more on this.
Yeah,
So
Narayan
three-way
Rathod, yeah.
reconciliations can happen, based on GRN, PO, invoice. But I need to understand more in detail about the barcode. What is the expectation from that level?
Okay, maybe we can also touch base with yeah, Narayan separately on this. Okay,
Yeah.
the next question is from Basil Paul. How does the system deal with scanned, handwritten invoices or low quality PDFs, especially when they are in regional languages? Also, how does the solution handle duplicate invoices coming in from multiple channels like email, portal, EDI?
Yeah, so duplicate definitely can be identified via various mechanisms. We have various checks to identify duplicates. In fact, if there are rule-based checks, and then in fact, if you want to go for an AI-based checks, that also we can be implemented to identify which are the suspected duplicates, which you might be receiving from various channels. Then definitely scanned invoices can be extracted. Handwritten invoices, yes, handwritten definitely can be extracted by the OCR capability that we have, but it also depends on the way it has been written. If it is very, not human even readable, then definitely the machine also will have a challenges. Definitely we see the challenges in handwritten, but what we have seen is with the OCR that we have, the accuracy is even for handwritten is also great, right? For low quality PDF, although yes, we have seen the accuracy good, but if we have to understand what level of low quality, what DPI it is into right now, because if it is itself is not human readable, then definitely the machine will have a challenge. So certain quality has to be there in the PDF for it to be 100% accurate. But we can analyze. If you can share us those samples, maybe in a subsequent call, we can see the results and show you the results for those PDFs.
Yes.
Right. The next question is from Amritam, who asks, "Hi, I'm looking for your support on e-auction for my direct C-class category and indirect spend consolidation slash resourcing. Please have a separate discussion." So yeah, we'll definitely get in touch and have a separate discussion.
Okay, I think Narayan has responded saying it's based on PO and GRN
Yeah.
for
So
this
PO and
two-way
GRN
matching.
matching we can do, yes, based on the data. So
Yes.
we will
Yeah.
see all the open GRNs PO which are there, and then AI will check which are the ones which are probable fully matching, not matching. Those checks AI will do it. So that we have in the product. We can have, we can have subsequent call where we can show you that.
Yeah, there are subsequent questions on in the Q&A. Is there an option for matching of GST 2A 6A?
Sorry, what was the question?
Matching of GST 2A 6A. I think we can do this very well. We can do that of discussion separately with our AI and bot-based solution. We can definitely have a discussion of matching, as well as for recon if that's required as well in the future. Okay, there is a question from Balaji which is asking, is there a data around OCR accuracy basis regions where they are getting used? Instance, documents from EU or AU have more OCR data accuracy. This data, if available, can be extended to auto posting percentage also, since countries like US have complex tax exceptions on posting a transaction, which minimizes the opportunity to achieve touchless posting. Yes, there is data available. We will share that with you, Balaji, separately. In fact, we can do a conversation around this and explain to you clearly how this really works from an OCR extraction percentage. We can possibly also do a POC and showcase how this OCR extraction is going to work for your various country-based invoices, if that is okay with you. I'm extremely delighted to have such an informed audience today. I think each one of these webinars, allows us to interact with our extremely, informed audiences. Thank you so much for the wonderful questions. We are extremely grateful for that. My team will get in touch with you to have one-to-one discussion set up, and we really look forward to connecting with you and doing something meaningful for you. There are more questions here, so if time permits, I think yes, there are lots of questions here. So maybe we can spend another 5 minutes to cover the questions.
Sure.
That's
Yeah.
the pending
Yeah.
questions here. Yes.
As there are pending questions, some of those we can spend 5 more minutes on this. So hi, have you done any AP implementation for import vendor? Satish Kumar asks.
Yes, we have done AP automations for import vendors. So we understand the import scenarios, the bill of lading, and the corresponding documents which comes as a part of the import. So we can discuss that definitely separately.
Got it. Got it. Avinash asks on manual invoice OCR, if the format changes, then also is this going to get checked?
Yeah, yeah. If format changes, then as long as the data is there, it will extract. It doesn't matter on the format. That's what we are saying. So it will look for the key information independent of the format. No need to train the format, and it will extract the data automatically from that particular new format, even if the format gets changed.
Got it. Yeah. So on the follow-up kind of information on the same question from Avinash was that he meant to ask if in place of invoice number, if there is PO number.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, that from the OCR. So in that cases, then we need to discuss with you, because if those are the cases that you are receiving invoices where PO number is coming on the invoice number, definitely, and if we enable the suppliers to change it. But if technology has to handle, then we need to definitely put some logics to define the patterns of the PO number, because PO number definitely has a pattern. So we can identify if that pattern is present in the invoice, then that is a PO number, not an invoice number. Right. So that type of logics we can then enable, and we can discuss that separately, definitely.
Right. Basil asks, how does the system handle invoices in regional or international languages?
So there is a language pick supports we have for the OCR. Around 27, 28 languages that are there. We can share that list with you, which are supported as a part of the OCR capability. So those languages are supported for the OCR.
Okay, Harikrishna asks, do we have any app for this solution?
It's a responsive UI application. So we are using latest Angular technology. So you don't need a separate app for that. So if you have to access the application, you can access directly from your mobile device on the browser, and it will automatically adjust the entire screen automatically based on the screen size. So it's a responsive UI.
Got it. I think question from Nataraja Kumari is, have we implemented anything for manufacturing industry? Yes, yes, definitely we
Yes.
have. Piyush can shed more light on that.
Yeah, so this has been implemented. AP as a process has been implemented by us for automation across close to about 180 plus organizations with several industries as well. AP we understand in depth. Velocious has been implemented across industries, including manufacturing. So we can walk you through the use cases and the customer references as well over a separate meeting. Yes, absolutely, Avinash. We will discuss it in
Yeah.
detail. Thank you for that. Excellent. So I think that concludes our webinar today. We are looking forward to our next one-to-one connects. We are extremely excited about the potential of AP to deliver value to an organization. And I think if we do this right, I think there is a lot of opportunity here, a lot of white space and a lot of blue ocean opportunity to realize returns with AP automation. So we look forward to working with you on that. And once again, my heartfelt gratitude for so many amazing questions. I think we have learned a lot from each other in this conversation. Thank you so much for joining in, and we look forward to staying connected.
Right. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for
Thank
your
you,
time.
everyone.